Okay, my name is Ann, and I am the mother of a 22-year-old meth addict. It's been a 2-year process with him, a long haul, but he's been sober for six months now, and we really seem to be working through the issues. I know that he'll always be an addict, but with the knowledge of his addiction, we're able to work through the process, and I know what to watch for now.
Now, going back to the beginning, when you first realized that there was an issue, can you talk about that?
Jesse and I have always been extremely close as a mother and son and as friends, and he started disappearing at all hours of the day or night, angry for no reason, temper tantrums, mood swings, massive ups and excessive downs, jumpy, real jumpy. The slightest movement that he would catch out of the corner of his eye, he would flinch, and I knew for sure when he left and he didn't come back for 3 months. I knew after a couple of days that he was definitely addicted and that he was gone.
Now you work at a facility that does testing.
Yes.
Now you ended up bringing him in for testing.
Jesse, my first major clue, Jesse was applying for a job that did pre-employment drug testing, and it was within about a month of me working here, and he failed. It was for marijuana.
Okay.
And I had my suspicions that he was doing that, and just didn't quite know how to approach it with him. We worked on it. Within a month he was able to test again and test clean so that he was able to take the job. And then one of the stipulations of him continuing to live in my home was that whenever I decided that it was my choice, he had to do an INSTI test at home. So whenever Mom decided, and that was the stipulation of being able to live in my home at that point. And that's when he disappeared. I knew when he disappeared for that 3 months that's why he knew he wouldn't pass the test.
And when he finally did come back, how did you handle that process?
I went through missing the first birthday when he was 19 years old. That was tough.
Yeah.
He came to the office where I work and walked through the door, threw his arms around my neck and said, "I love you, Mama, but I need help." And we just went from there.
That's awesome. Did he end up going through an inpatient treatment of any sort, or?
Actually, no. Jesse has been very strong-willed through it. It's taken several attempts.
Yeah.
The first time he went about 3-4 months before he fell back on an occasional, or what he said was occasional.
Right.
It didn't take long before he was back into it full swing. He's just been stubborn enough that he wants to do this on his own and knows that he can.
Mm-hmm.
And through this last time, he's finally, 6 months has been a big thing.
yeah, that
so,
is. Have you been doing INSTI tests during this time period? Or?
Off and on.
Off
yes,
and on.
I do. He doesn't live at home anymore.
Okay.
So it's not that big of that much of an option for me to do. But with the birth of his daughter and realizing that he didn't want his daughter to grow up with what he was going through, that's been his biggest motivation.
Wow. That's great. Anything else that you'd like to add? Sounds like things are going great. Is there anything
Right
else?
now.
Right now, the meth is a very, very insidious drug.
It's nasty. This is a child or a young man that's definitely afraid of needles, and he was no longer getting the high like he needed by smoking it or eating it. That he did start intravenous
Wow.
use of the meth. It takes a hold of your kids, but the biggest thing for you to realize is that it's not your fault.
Yeah.
That was the hardest thing for me to do, was not to blame myself.
Yeah.
Because that was the first thing, didn't I teach him right? He knows what's right, he knows what's wrong. What did I do wrong as a parent? The next hardest thing for me to do was to change the locks on my home and not allow him into my home when I wasn't there, because there was no trust.
Mm-hmm.
Tools came up missing. My husband is a carpenter by trade, so some very expensive tools came up missing. My wedding rings, just various things, right down to little just miscellaneous small things that were returned to stores to get the cash. But just, you can't blame yourself. You've got to stay positive through the whole thing. You've got to keep yourself healthy. And don't be afraid to talk.
Yeah.
If you bottle it up inside, it's just going to eat you.